Whether you're a current homeowner or in the market to purchase your first home, insurance plays a huge role in protecting the biggest asset you'll ever own. It certainly isn't the most glamorous part of the home ownership process, but it's just so important and sometimes not given the attention it needs. The key is knowing what coverage you need and how to work with your insurance agent to be sure you're protected should a catastrophe occur. My name is Tricia Farron. I'm a real estate agent with William Raveis in Newtown, Connecticut, and you're watching Keeping the Real in Real Estate. I'm so pleased to introduce Rosemarie DePasquale. She's the insurance sales director with William Raveis and works right in my office. With over 20 years experience and as a former mortgage consultant and real estate agent, Rosemarie has seen it all. She's here today to help us better understand and navigate the insurance process. Hi, Rosemarie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Tricia. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Let's jump right in. To properly set the stage, can you give us a quick overview of the types of insurance policies that are essential for home buyers and sellers?
Well, sure, definitely. Well, as all of you know, you need a homeowner's insurance. Whether you have a mortgage or you don't, you need to protect your asset, your home. And the most important thing is homeowner's insurance cover your dwelling. Aside from covering your dwelling, you have to also be aware that you become responsible for whatever happens in your home or in your driveway per se. So you also need to cover your liability, which most homeowners insurance policies will have already built in. So it will cover your dwelling, it will cover your liability, and also very important that you have a few endorsements that they don't necessarily come with a policy, but they are important that it's important that you should have. So for example, you should have personal injury, you should have coverage on service lines, mechanical breakdown. There's a few things that you may think like you don't need it, but you will end up needing if something happens later on, and you'll probably be sorry. So it's just better to have it in your homeowner's policy from the beginning.
Great. Thank you for that. I'd like to start off with the perspective from a home buyer. What advice do you have for a first-time home buyer when it comes to understanding the insurance terms and selecting the right coverage for their needs?
Well, the purchasing a homeowner's insurance is different for everyone because it's a different house. Location is very important. Depending on the location, you have to see the proximity to the water. Depending on the house, you have to see how is the roof, how is the basement, making sure that you have a good inspection, make sure that you go over every little detail of your home and pay a lot of attention to the inspection process once you choose your inspector. A premium is different for everyone, and a house is very different. Location it has a big impact on the premium. These days, it's also obviously the credit score of everyone. I know it has nothing to do with a house, but it's important that goes with you, whether you're buying a house or you're buying a second home, or it doesn't matter. But it's very important for a first-time home buyer that you know the location. The more of the risk, the more expensive the premium is going to be for you. And again, the inspection report is very important that you pay attention to every detail.
Wow, it's a lot. I didn't know about the credit score. So the credit score can impact their insurance premium?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow,
and many times when if your credit score is not good, you will see that your rates are huge, and some of the companies they don't even pick up your risk. We are brokers, so we have multiple carriers. We have about 15 top rated companies through William Raveis. So I know when I do my process of my quotes in my applications, I can see that.
Okay, that's great. So a lot of the first-time home buyers are coming off of a rental situation and they have renter's insurance. So what advice do you have to give them for transitioning from a rental policy to a home ownership policy?
The most important thing they need to know is that now they're responsible for things that they were not responsible in the past when they were a renter. You have to protect your home. And again, I always say this, now you're responsible for whatever happens in your house, whether it's inside your house or in your backyard, in your front yard. So you have to protect your house and prevent also, because it's not just about purchasing insurance, it's about preventing damages. As for example, make sure that you have railings in your steps on the front of your house. Maybe something broke, you need to repair it. You know, you bought a dog that maybe it wasn't in your insurance, homeowner's insurance policy. Depending on the kind of dog, you may want to let your insurance company know, right? Because there is risk on that too. So many things that you have to think about when you purchase homeowner's insurance.
So I knew about certain types of dog breeds, but anytime you get a dog, you should inform your insurance company?
Well, not necessarily, but sometimes it could be like if you're not sure about a certain dog, you may want to run it by your insurance company anyway. That's my advice. But yeah, there are small little dogs that you can Google it and know that they're not really at risk. It could be okay, but it's always good to know that the insurance company knows. Maybe you want to do your own research first and then, you know, let them know.
Yeah, I have 3 dogs, but they're they're not a threat to anybody unless you don't like to be licked. Um,
Yeah.
so that's actually a great segue. Can you give us some of the common misconceptions that homeowners insurance you can encounter, and how can buyers and sellers avoid falling into these traps?
Yeah, well, many people purchasing homeowners insurance, you think like, oh, I just want to find the cheapest quote, but it's more to that. Most homeowners insurance, I think they think like flood is gonna cover, water coming from outside into your house will be covered because you're purchasing insurance for your house. But the truth is that any water coming from outside, for example, like the rain, if you have a basement or a crack on your wall, from the bottom of your wall, that there's a sea passage, and this may not be covered. I mean, it's very hard for me to say what situation will be covered or not because I'm not a claims specialist and I'm not the adjuster. I'm not seeing the situation. I'm not seeing everything. But I can speak in general that water coming from outside into your house is not covered by homeowners insurance. However, flood insurance will cover, and you don't necessarily need to purchase flood insurance. I'm sorry, you don't need to buy flood insurance. You may think that you don't need to buy flood insurance because your bank doesn't require, but anybody can purchase a flood insurance. It will not be as expensive as it will be if you're in a flood zone, of course, but you can be protected. And I know most people don't have flood insurance because you don't want the extra cost, but it's recommended. But unfortunately, that's how the industry is. And you also want to make sure that in your basement, if you think like there are chances of water that you could from the pipes or something in your basement, you need to have a sump pump that is working, especially before the winter comes or the rainy season, that you are going to prevent the damages.
That's crazy. I'm pretty certain that everybody thinks that if there's water that comes in from heavy rains, that they're covered. So it's a huge shock when they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you own a home and you become responsible. Just because you have insurance doesn't mean like you have to leave it to the insurance company, because it being a homeowner comes with a responsibility too.
Is that the case for all natural disasters? Like what happens if there's heavy winds and trees fall on your roof? Is that not covered?
Well, some policies do, some policies don't. I've been seeing in some cases that they need a deductible. In many cases, some of them some of the policies, they ask for a deductible to be in place. But yeah, the wind, hurricanes are not covered unless you have that coverage.
Oh, so maybe it would make good sense to have somebody like you take a look at a policy
Take
and
a
see what coverages we have and what's lacking.
Yes, it's always good to have a policy review with somebody who, does insurance, and maybe they're brokers, they know more about different carriers, so they can give you more general advice in what is going on. Yes.
Well,
And a
let's
small
take a
advice
look.
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I don't want to forget
Of course.
this as an advice. Whenever you have a claim, you may want to always run it by your account manager, whoever is handling your policies, and not just jump to all the claims department, because you don't want to have a claim that maybe is going to affect you in the future, and maybe you didn't need to, maybe it was something small. So make sure that you always do a little bit of your research, call your insurance agent first, and maybe run it by that person before you go ahead and call claims department.
That's very good advice because honestly, I just assume you just call claims. It would never occur to me to talk to anybody else. There's a problem, you call claims and get the process started. So you're suggesting that we talk to the agent and
Yeah.
understand what
And
options
I'm
are.
just a messenger, and I'm just a messenger. Please, I know that many things that we hear, we don't like to hear, and I don't like to hear, but this is what the industry is right now. And I did quotes for a few people, and they had 2 or 3 of those calls that they called because they thought they had a claim, and then they left it at that. And then once we run clue reports, we see those, and the company sees it, and they don't see it as a positive, and they see it as a negative.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's take a look a little bit about on the selling side. Are there specific coverage options that a seller might want to consider to protect their property while they're in the process of selling their home?
I have to say, even from the past that I used to show homes, this is decades ago. Don't think most of these homes that are on the market are not necessarily, probably the insurance companies don't know that they are for sale. I don't think that the homeowners are calling their insurance company and letting them know the house is for sale. I don't know, but most cases they don't.
I would think
As
so,
a
no.
seller, you have to take like I said, responsibility. You have to take the protection on your hands, and you have to be responsible. For example, in the winter, make sure that those sidewalks or your front yard, everything is good and clean, because you're gonna have people in your house, and you're not. It's like if you're going to have a party or a big event, there's people coming over, so you gotta make sure people are not tripping or falling. Make sure that they're not going to slip if there's ice outside. I think that what I could say easily is that you have to prevent any kind of, a damage or an injury from anyone getting hurt in your house.
Okay, so that sounds like some of those things they can do themselves, but is there any kind of addition to their insurance policy that they have to purchase? Or is it just
You know what?
common
They
sense?
they don't. I think it's common sense, and there is a question that I think every insurance company may be different in how they handle that. So it's something that I wish I can be more accurate, but I think that the best I can say is that they should call their insurance company, but I don't think they do it, but I think that they should, and see how every company will react to that.
Okay, that makes sense. Can you go a little bit into an umbrella policy and how that would maybe impact some of these additional things that you're suggesting that a homeowner should get in their
Mhm.
insurance policy?
I always recommend to have an umbrella, because so in order to have an umbrella, I just want to say you need to have at least $300,000 in liability coverage on your homeowner's insurance.
Okay.
And usually on your auto insurance, usually about $250 to $500,000 in coverages for the umbrella to be on top of these policies as a liability coverage. And they usually go to $1 million to $5 million. And some people, they may even have up to $100 million, depending on how much assets they have. But yeah, so this is really to protect you from a big lawsuit, somebody who got hurt in your driveway, and is in the hospital, or something really bad happened, whether it's in automobile accident or on your house, and $300,000 liability coverage is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
And as you know, with medical bills, and even with personal injury, people being hurt in many different ways, they'll sue you. And I always advise that they should have $1 million at least coverage. It's not that expensive if you have good credit. You don't have too many claims. I think that for a few $100s, better be safe than sorry. But this will cover you up to $1 million
Wow.
from
Really
mainly
great.
from lawsuits.
Yeah. Wow, this has been an amazing amount of information. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tricia, for the opportunity again. And thank you. Happy to do it.
Thank you. If you have any questions about insurance and would like to speak with Rosemarie, you can give her a call at 203-561-0013 or come into the William Raveis office in Newtown. I'm sure she'll be happy to do a policy review for you, or answer any of your questions. Thank you for,
Absolutely.
yeah, yes. Thank you for watching Keeping Them Real in Real Estate. Stay tuned for additional experts joining me throughout the year and giving great insight to all things real estate. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.